Good morning, Magic players. Welcome to the morning show where we discuss all things MTG, and also we do Decklist review. So if you've got a 75 you need some feedback on, you want some help with the win condition, the mana base, you can bring it here, and both myself and the community can help fix your deck list. So bring on your questions. Brew up your coffee, and let's brew up some magic this morning. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for February 23rd, 2021. I am your host, Nikachu, the Merfolk Master. And we've got the chat already filled up. Doom King, good morning. Good morning, Musical. Andreas. Good morning, Musical. Hey, thanks for all the awesome magic content, Nikachu. Much love from the UK. Much love also from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. You're welcome. Good morning, Stephen and Hawkburn. And to the Fish Fam, good morning, Peyton. Yeah, let's it's another day. It's another day in the digital world of YouTube, and let's have a lot of fun. Get your coffees. I need to get my coffee ready. Oh my god. I mean, so for anyone who doesn't know, I published my banned modern red cards tier list. I was up until like 1 o'clock in the morning editing that. Jeez, I need to hire an editor. This is sucking up a lot of my time, but I'm doing what I gotta do to get that content out for all of you. So I'm gonna sweetfully enjoy my coffee this morning. Good morning, Mathieu. Good morning, Benjamin. Chris. Good morning, Massimo. And yeah, and good afternoon to everyone in Europe. Hey, wherever you are in this world, whatever time it is, it's always a great time to brew up a cup of coffee and enjoy some conversation. Good morning, Rebecca. Good morning, Thomas. Good morning, Daryl. I'm more about the tea, but hot drinks are great. That's right. I'm more of a tea in the evening. I'm an afternoon. I'm all about tea. I'm all about the tea. Good morning, Hugh. Morning, Frederick. Sean, Dexter Johnson. You enjoyed the monkey pictures? the monkey pictures and Harambe. Good morning, Michael. Jose, Nikachu talking about needing an editor. The sea of waves is growing. I know. So anyway, if you're new to the show and you want to know how to interact, get your questions ready. 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question. Help me find your questions amongst all the comments and questions I'm getting from between 2 YouTube channels and a Facebook page. Or if you're on YouTube, you can support the channel and boost your question to the top. Use super chats to basically cheat the system. Good morning, Jack. Good morning, Gaspacho Monster. I just got my coffee brewed and now I'm ready for magic. That's right. I mean, I gotta make some sort of Spaceballs reference here. Now that I've got my coffee, I'm ready to talk magic. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Spaceballs, the movie. With Mr. Coffee. Can I find Mr. Coffee? Spaceballs. Surrounded by assholes. There we go. Power of the internet. Yeah, everything is on the internet. Mr. Coffee. Now that I've got my coffee. Yes, I always have coffee when I watch Radar. You know that. And now that I have my coffee, it is time to watch Radar. Now that I have my coffee, it's time to get into the magic. All right. Dabum, Biv, and this is one of the harder names. We'll just end it there. What do you think about Second Sunrise? I think the card will still get banned for the same reason it was banned in the first place. I don't know if everyone knows why it got banned. It's not banned at a power level. Certainly, I like Second Sunrise is so close to something like KCI, except less resilient. I don't know. Maybe it's even better in today's metagame. But originally it was banned because the combo took absolutely forever to combo off. So like you could be into game 2, time has been called, and the player's just starting to combo off, and it takes them 30 minutes to combo. And because like the rounds in Modern went way over time, way over time. I remember watching Magic coverage with Second Sunrise. It was stupid. And like there was a Pro Tour top 8 where Stanislav Sivka won, and that Pro Tour top 8 took forever. Just took absolutely forever because Sivka had to take his sweet ass time. Not that he was playing slowly, but I mean the executing the combo just takes forever. It takes a long time. And then if you're not even proficient with the deck, I mean, good luck. everyone will be wasting their time. So I think it actually has to remain banned for time reasons. So basically, for similar reasons like Sensei's Divining Top also got banned. Not in Modern, but in Legacy. Good morning, Ben. And building a Dimir Death Shadow deck, how can I lose life on a budget? I have 4 Strand, 2 Delta, but I can't afford the last 2 Deltas. I would just play Shocklands. I'd prioritize the Shocklands over the Fetch lands because, I mean, all you need is the Shocklands. All you need is the Shocklands to lose your life, but also add Dismember. Dismember is a really good way. Or even just like Phyrexian spells, Mutagenic Growth, Dismember. These are nice, easy ways to lose life while also, you know, not having to spend too much money on stuff. Especially the Fetch lands. Like, don't blow your budget on Fetch lands if you want to save money. Lolazaurus, thank you very much. Hello. Congrats on the channel is growing. I've cracked the YouTube algorithm, people. But I just need one fucking thing out of everyone. I need everyone to start subscribing. Not to the Nikachu MTG streams channel. We gotta get everyone to subscribe on the OG channel. I want that silver play button, damn it. Give me my silver play button. Before it looked like it was impossible. Now it's definitely possible. Musical Salmon, really enjoyed the red ban video. My friend has a mono red dragon deck, and the banning of Simeon Spirit Guide hurt him. Any good alternatives for a red ramp? Love the Spaceballs, good film. You know what, honestly? Just play something like Mind Stone. Like, it's a practical card. It sounds like if you're a dragon deck that's trying to cast really expensive dragons. So let's just get Mind Stone here. This is a classic, like, just general ramp card. That because the thing is, once you ramp your dragon in play, let's say Stormbreath Dragon or something like that, I'm not sure what you're using, you can then exchange this in the late game for a card, because there is a point where you're going to be flooding out. So this helps get your dragons in play by turn, like if it's Thunderbreak Regent, so things like Thunderbreak Regent. Again, I have no idea what the this deck looks like, but most of the dragons are pretty clunky, so playing a Mind Stone on turn 2 will not disrupt the curve of getting to your dragon. So you can play Thunderbreak Regent turn 3 and any 5-mana dragon by turn 4, and then as you're flooding out, you can sacrifice this and just draw a card. I think that's probably the best thing that you could use in order to ramp for a dragon deck, in my opinion. Spaceballs the Lunchbox. Oh, fuck. Where's our Spaceball sequel? The Search for More Money. The Search for More Money. I should watch Spaceball. I have a feeling like that. I don't know if that movie ages well. But I can tell you, when the 9-year-old Nikachu laughed his fucking ass off at that movie. Absolutely loved it. Peyton Sullivan, been thinking about running Dark Confidant in a black-red mid-range. Is Bob good anymore? If you ask my opinion, no. The problem with Bob is ETB does nothing. You give your opponent an opportunity to kill it. And even when you're getting value, you're losing life. Not really something you want to be doing right now with a lot of prowess and burn running about. So it's just not what... Dark Confidant isn't what it used to be. And I think if you're in black-red mid-range, you have a lot of options for card advantage between Stomp and Bone Crusher Giant or Seasoned Pyromancer or Croxa. Like, there's a lot of good black-red mid-range stuff. And also Magmatic Chandler. Oh, Magmatic Chandler also doesn't get immediate value. No immediate value out of this card either, and not technically card advantage, but is better on defense against a variety of decks. Also, can be a very large creature in the late game, unlike Bob, which cannot close the game out at all, and also is not very good at attacking or blocking whatsoever. And you get to at least filter some. You have good filtering with this card. You can discard a land card, exile top 2 cards of your library, and play any of them. It's like, it digs quite deep. So I think there's a lot of options for black-red mid-range, but I honestly don't think Bob is one of them. Thomas, do you think elves can have a place in Modern, or is Lava Dart or Ren holding it back? It is, but elves has a lot of creatures. Is there a different way we can build elves to play around those cards? Because I was building some elf decks. I can't say successfully. I mean, I was only going 3-2 in leagues. But there might be another direction that we can take elves that has more beefier elves in the deck and not dependent on so many one toughness creatures. And I think that's possible. It's just someone has to go ahead and make the deck. CG, what distinguishes a competent average player from a very good competitive player? Pros or leaderboard players? Good question. Well, I mean, first off, leaderboard players play a lot. So they're good, but they also play a lot. That's one distinguishing difference, because the only way you can get on the leaderboard, for example, for leagues, is you have to grind a lot. There's no way around that. But if you're just talking pro players, they understand the concepts better. Like, they understand the concepts deeply. It's more they're also taking, I mean, I've made many videos about this, but there's like a lot of nuances that the pros will always take advantage of. There's going to be like your average player that will say, you know, if I were to tell them, you shouldn't play your land drop on your main phase, you should wait till your second main phase. And they're like, well, it's my only land in my hand. What does it matter? And it's that sort of mindset that will bleed percentage points, because information matters in Magic, and you have to hold back as much information as possible. So that I would say the difference between the average players and the most competitive players is they're eking out every slight advantage that they can at a competitive level, among all the different factors and all the different ways of how do I put it? Among all tactics and strategies we have in Magic, they're squeezing the most value out of it, and they understand it a lot better too. I will say also, better players generally talk to other better players. Like, I grew the most being part of like a sort of a pro player group. And if you're not part of those groups, you can't bounce ideas and learn from them as much. I have to admit, it's hard to learn Magic. It is. It's hard. The information really isn't out there all that much. It's fragmented in pieces. There's no book that teaches you, okay, this is competitive Magic from the basics to the advanced stuff. It just doesn't exist. Everyone's just trying to piece it together in fragments from like millions of different articles, millions of different videos, all the streaming that you've watched. And there's a lot of streamers who will stream what they're doing, but not exactly explain why they're doing what they're doing. So you don't really learn the core concept about why you should do something over something else. But I mean, it's hard to it's a bit hard to answer that question, and maybe it's because that information isn't so freely available to take you from average to pro. But I hope that's something that I can give you. Good question. It's a very good question. Papa Joe, is it normal that my sideboard is all over the place, given that the meta is all over the place? I have plans for specific matchups that I encounter, but the sideboard is not as clean as I want. I mean, that's personal preference. Some people like messy sideboards where, I mean, there's like two strategies, more or less. There is like the strategy where you have as messy of a side, you have like one-ofs for tons of stuff. You have like a Grafdigger's Cage, Relic of Progenitus, Rest in Peace, Soul Guide Lantern, maybe a Tormod's Crypt. So you got like multiple different variations of graveyard hate, but they're not all good, Grafdigger's Cage is not going to be good against it's not going to be good against Jund, for example, but if I bring in Relic versus Jund, I can interact with their Tarmogoyf, I can interact maybe with their Seasoned Pyromancer, their Kroxa. So the point is that some people like those sort of like spread out messy sideboards, so that even though it's not super focused, they can just take pieces of whatever they have. It has enough overlap. It makes them comfortable to side into any matchup. I personally take the approach of, I'm going to have everything or nothing. And I think both strategies definitely work. I think certain sideboard strategies work better for certain archetypes. For example, Merfolk doesn't have many ways of digging for cards or reusing the cards from the graveyard, so I prefer to have max out on 4x of this, 4x of that, 4x of another card, and 3x of the last one. Whereas decks that reuse cards from the graveyard have the ability to like use cantrips to dig for cards, they have more room to play like a variety of things. Or if they have tutors, for example, that also works. Morning, Carlos. Casper Soul, you're subscribed. Thank you very much, Casper. Frederick, how many people are watching each day on, gotta be more specific, on Coffee and MTG? We're getting our numbers close to 300 a day. Not in the beginning, but people eventually show up near the end. I peak at 300. I peak around 300, which is actually impressive. On the channel, I don't know how many people are watching. Hard to tell. The bum. Do you think reserve list will come to an end soon? Love you, Nikachu. I do not think so. I sincerely don't think the reserve list is going to come to an end. If anything, they prove that they might expand it because they had the secret lair with Walking Dead, and they said, we're printing this once and never again, so they might expand the reserve list a little bit through certain promos. What do you think of Wayward Guide Beast for Red Black Shadow Prowess? Can't remember what this card does. Oh, this. Not a fan of this card. If you're talking about, if you're talking about specifically for Modern, I think this will tempo you out a little bit too much. Deals combat damage to a player, return a land you control to its owner's hand. That's just too tempo negative for Modern, in my opinion. I saw a deck like that once, but it was trying to abuse landfall, so it made a little bit of sense, but I mean, in general, it just won't work. I mean, for prowess, you might as well just use Swift Spear. And if you're using this in addition to Swift Spear, use Bomat Courier or something. Thoughts on Ponza in the meta these days? Probably an okay deck. Maybe not super well positioned because I don't know how well positioned Blood Moon is. That deck gets a lot better when Blood Moon is good, but definitely a playable deck. Made top 32 in the last Modern Challenge, so definitely good stuff. Vaughn, what is your least favorite Modern matchup for Merfolk over the years? Over the years? Like, Lantern Control. That was a fucking miserable. My opponent could be drooling on themselves, and I knew I was going to lose anyway. It doesn't take a lot of brains to understand. You got to empty your hand and put an Ensnaring Bridge on the battlefield. So that was an absolute miserable matchup. I mean, every single time. If my opponent started off with Ghoul Caller's Bell or some shit like that, I knew it was just fucking over. I beat that deck twice out of like 50 times I ever played it. It was awful. My desired deck is very internally consistent. Every game is different, and I can win with a different setup, so not combo. I landed on a Dimir Shadow list with Delver. Any suggestions? Probably take out the Delver. A lot of people, when Death Shadow started to get good, people were immediately said, "Oh, maybe Death Shadow is good in a Delver deck," and then eventually, and then it was Grixis Delver Death Shadow, and then they just got rid of the Delver. I mean, I know a lot of people, they just want to make Delver good in Modern, but it's just a weak creature. Hard to protect and very hard to flip, so it's just a big liability to the deck. Just replace it with anything. Yes, let's not forget to drink the coffee. Let's all take a coffee break. Almost choked on a bubble there. What are your favorite deck archetypes in Modern, and which ones do you have in real life? I only own Merfolk. Oh, I only own Merfolk in real life, but I have Spirits for Pioneer, and I don't think it would be a stretch to say that I have Spirits in Modern, basically. I mean, I'm just missing Drogskull Captain, but I just own it by sort of accident, not on purpose. Yeah, that's my favorite archetype in Modern. I haven't played, I don't know if you know who I am, but I've been playing Merfolk solid for like 7 years. But thanks for asking, Musical. Monster CC, just 4-1 with Mystic Reflection Master of Waves list without using Reflection once. Is Master Wave strong enough on its own to find a spot in Fish again? Yes. I mean, that's why I'm playing it in my Simic Merfolk deck, because I think there's a lot of burn out there, a lot of prowess. I expect the Thoughtseize decks to come back, and we're talking like Jund and Grixis Shadow, or even Black-Red Shadow, and Master of Waves is just going to be there for us as a good, powerful creature, hopefully resistant to all the opponent's nonsense. Mick Gengar, do you think Force of Despair is any good? And I think it might be good against decks that try to cheat in Emrakul early. I think it's playable. It's just we need the metagame in a right place that people would want to play this card. Because it's effectively a counter spell for like creatures. If it's not your turn, you may exile a black card from your hand rather than pay a spell's mana cost. Destroy all creatures that enter the battlefield this turn. The only thing that sucks is that they'll enter the battlefield. So let's say an Emrakul enters the battlefield, they still get get an extra turn trigger. Oh, sorry, it happens on cast, I think. So they'll still get stuff like that. So it's like a crappier counterspell, more situational. I think it's a playable card. I mean, one day this card will see play. It's a steal at $1. but it's just not today. I'm not sure what the metagame has to look like to make that card good. It's 2 for 1 of your... Another thing, 2 for 1 of yourself against a creature sucks, because you might as well have just used a regular removal spell. But I mean, long story short, I think the card is good. It's just not well positioned. Tan, do you think a mini brainstorm, draw 2 cards, put 1 on top would be good for modern play, or simple looting effects, draw a card and discard stuff? Well, first off, probably not. I'll say this much. Okay, let's look at Serum Visions. Right now, Preordain. Let's look at Preordain. This is in the modern card pool. It's a blue, scry 2, then draw a card. Very similar. It's worse than Brainstorm. It's worse because you don't draw cards. It's banned in modern. So you're going to have to make a really good case for making this card. And like Ponder isn't even Ponder isn't even legal. And again, it's very similar to Brainstorm, except you don't actually draw the cards. You just look at the top 3 cards, rearrange them, and it's banned. Banned here. And then you're like, a simple looting effect, draw a card and discard a card. Well, how many cards? Maybe drawing 1 and discarding 1 might not be too bad. Might not be too bad, but it can't be like faithless looting, which is drawing 2, discarding 2. Because this is also banned. We gotta be careful about what we can do at 1 mana. I think Ponder. I mean, I personally have no problems with Ponder or Preordain. That Brainstorm card, that might be pushing it. That might be pushing it. Draw 2 cards, put 2 cards back on top. That might be pushing it. Maybe more fair is draw 1 card, put 1 card back on top. Ryan Scott, would you consider doing a video talking about staples or must-haves for modern for new players? But like, what's the purpose exactly? Like, here's all the most popular cards. There's 2 problems. Videos like this go out of date like relatively quickly. You never know. I mean, Tarmogoyf was like Tarmogoyf is still a staple, but it used to be more of a staple like 6 years ago. Cards can get banned. New cards can displace others. But even for new players, I don't know how valuable this is. Like, hey, these are all the really good cards. They'll just learn about. I would assume they would just learn about it just by looking at the decks. Being introduced to the decks might be more valuable than being introduced to the staples. Because who would buy all the staples in like 2021? Doom King, what's your opinion on the most skillful deck in the modern meta? The most skillful right now? Probably Grixis Shadow. That's a hard deck to play, but a really rewarding one when you know what you're doing. Have you read Chapin's books? I have not. I know they're like next level deck building because they're like a lot of them are deck. Well, I didn't most definitely heard of the deck building book, but I don't like to build decks. I like to take decks that are already built and I tweak them to my own, for my own good. Is Bedlam Reveler good anymore? I hear a lot of Rakdos decks now in modern. I know it doesn't have much synergy with Kroxa, but a couple of each maybe. Absolutely, that card is super OP. Very strong card. There's a lot of great cards that are printed that just have no home. They're just waiting for a home, and when they do, then they become busted. Like, for example, we were talking the other day, Underworld Breach. So this is a card. We know it's broken. It's very similar to Yawgmoth's Will, which is banned in Legacy, and this card is banned in Legacy. One day, this will get banned in Modern, but Modern is waiting for somebody to prove it. They're waiting to prove it. Today, it's not banned because it sees no play, but we know it's a powerful card. There's a lot of really good cards out there. And it needs the right home or the right metagame. Hoke, if you were chosen to create your own magic card, would it be 1 mana Champion of the Parish Merfolk? Give it to me, people. I was talking about Underworld Breach with Frederick yesterday, and he thinks that the card would be banned someday because it's OP. I agree. What do you think? I guess I answered your question already by accident. Do you think we should create a no bans modern? It already exists. It already exists. It's called No Ban Modern. Lost on Spirits. It's a great deck. It was the most underrated deck in the last season. Before the bannings, people who played it had an 80% win rate in competitive events. Very high win rate. Most high artificer of all the artificers, higher than Urza. Good morning, Nick. Thanks for sending the link for OBS for recording. I'm glad Tron's back. You're welcome. Oh, I'm glad Tron's back, baby. Oh, yes. Tron is back. I'm starting to see Tron easily. Thoughts on Charbelcher without Simian Spirit Guy? Still playable? Absolutely. I mean, so these decks now are going to rely less on raw speed and more on the metagame doesn't have answers to these cards. So there's no pithing. If there's no pithing needles or Phyrexian Revokers or Artifact, Hate, Stony Silence, Collector Oof, and maybe not so many counter spells, boom, Charbelcher will be a very powerful, strong deck. I mean, you can still combo off like relatively easily. You just don't do it nearly as fast as you used to do. Daryl asked, not against Affinity? I don't know what that means. You gotta give me more context, people. By the time I read your question, I have no idea what you're referring to anymore. So good morning. Is Cat Combo more viable now that Blood Moon are a turn Simian slower? Not necessarily. Most of the Blood Moon decks weren't playing Simian Spirit Guide. Most of them. I mean, some did, but most Simian Spirit Guide decks weren't Blood Moon decks, so I don't think Cat Combo is more viable than it was before. Can Grixis Blitz with Thoughtseize, Inquisition, or Drown in the Lock work? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. It sounds actually like some interesting design space that hasn't been explored yet. Or, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like Rakdos Shadow, but adding blue for maybe no good reason. Like your blue splash better be really high impact because otherwise Rakdos Shadow sounds exactly what you're trying to do. It was like an aggro. It played Swift Spear, played Soulscar Mage, and it played Inquisition of Thought and Thoughtseize for the prowess. So you better justify the blue splash by a lot because Rakdos was already pretty good. How did you accidentally acquire most of the modern Spirit stack? Seems to no. I had it for Pioneer, so I just accidentally have it available for Modern if I really wanted to. CG, love your videos from the old Getting Good at Magic playlist. So helpful. Oh, is that still available? Will you be continuing the series at some point? What ideas do you have for future video series? More tier lists. I got a list of stuff here. More like where are they now videos. Maybe it's like top 10 videos. More best budget videos. I do intend on making more like content like that. So I have no problem. I have no plan on stopping any of that stuff. Thoughts on humans in the new metagame? Probably poor. Honestly, like it wasn't doing very well for a very long time because its problems were Tron and Amulet or Titan decks. And they were gone for a little while because of the Tybalt's Trickery deck, and humans did great against the Tybalt's Trickery deck. I mean, the time to play humans was right before they banned everything. But now, Tron is out again, Titan is out again. Like, humans doesn't do very well against those decks. But, I mean, everything is playable, but it's just got a lot of 50-50 matchups. Also, the Healy Company matchup sort of sucks. Same thing with Merfolk. I have a little bit more game against Tron. Benjamin Armstrong, I'm playing Phoenix right now. Should I go with Haggle or Burning Inquiry and maybe even Goblin Lore? I think Haggle, because you can choose to discard your Phoenix, whereas Burning Inquiry and Goblin Lore, it's a crapshoot gamble. I consider myself a bit of a competitive player. I own and play Burn on most competitive REL. How many decks do I need to have? Do I need to have a deck when Burn is bad in the meta? I skew towards aggro strategies. It is a good idea to have 2 decks. 3, I would suggest 2 because it gives you enough flex. It doesn't stretch you too thin on experience. You want to get as much experience as you can with your decks in Modern. I think people who just jump to the best deck, they're doing themselves a disservice for the most part. Not everyone can do that. Some people can just talently play like anything, but most people, they need to accrue experience with their deck. So I think it is good to at least have 1 extra deck. I would do it myself, except I'm a YouTuber, so I need to spend time on YouTube and just basically teaching one deck. What do you think of Pyre of Heroes in the Goblins deck? Would you rather play against Pyre Prison, or would you rather play against or with? Oh, combo. Well, they're both combo decks, right? Pyre of Heroes is simply the combo deck, but with Pyre of Heroes to help find the combo. So they're both combo decks. I don't know which one I would want to play against. I think the deck is strong, though. I think it's a solid deck. Looks solid. Don't know if it stands the test of time. Oh, we have a super chat. Hi, Standard, the one true format. That's right. Why am I not seeing my super chats? I have a lot of another super chat. Hail Standard, the one true format. Disagree or agree? Can't say I agree with that. Can't say I agree. I'm not exactly a Standard player. The problem with Standard is, well, it's a little underpowered for me, and I can't. Wait, actually, here's the main problem I personally have with Standard. I can't play anything I want to play. I love mono blue strategies or very heavy blue-based strategies, and that's not always available in Standard for me. But anyway, thank you very much for the 2 super chats. Sorry I didn't see it in the first place. I got a message StreamYards about this. I'm supposed to get a notification at the top of my screen, but I'm not getting those notifications anymore. What is going on here? Okay, I'm going to keep an extra sharp eye for the super chats by scrolling through the chat a lot. Andreas asks, look at the top 2 cards, put one into your hand and one on the bottom of your library. Would work? That exists. This card exists already. I have some good news for you, Andreas. I got the perfect card for you. Sleight of hand. 1 mana. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the other on the bottom of your library. It would work. Unless you're trolling me. Which in that case, it was a funny troll anyway. John says, is there a card you think should get more play and is being underrated by players right now? Not really. It used to be Pithing Needle. Then I made a video about it. It's hard to say what right now, because right now is a whole new metagame, so it's hard to say what's underrated. Wouldn't say anything is particularly underrated. Ryan says, Travis Wu did a series of studying older decks that tore through metas, and I found it gave tons of insight on how the game ticks and how it used to be. Any desire to ever review old decks? No, I personally don't have any desire to review the old decks. Do you think, Sibigrel says, do you think that mutagenic growth will ever need to be banned? Probably not, but I don't want to ever take any 0 mana spells off the table. If it does not require any mana to cast, I think it always has the potential of getting banned one day. But mutagenic growth is a card that demands a permanent on the battlefield, and you can get 2 for 1 if your opponent like removes that creature in response. I mean, unless you specifically just needed to lose the life. So I think mutagenic growth is probably going to be a card that's going to be with us for forever. But who knows? I can never know what new deck design in the future will put mutagenic growth over the top. Naz They Yeti. What would you say is a good deck archetype for someone to learn good fundamentals for Modern? Good fundamentals? Probably a Jund type deck. The problem with Jund is that it's expensive. Like, Jund teaches you a lot of stuff. It teaches you to learn it forces you to learn what's the most important cards in your opponent's deck, because you have to strip them with Thoughtseize and Inquisition to Kozilek. And it teaches you to manage your removal spells, when and how to attack, putting a clock on your opponent. I think Jund is a pretty good deck to actually get into Modern. But the problem is, and it keeps your life total high. I wouldn't recommend Shadow, because Shadow is just a little bit too complicated. You have to put your life total low, but not low enough that you kill yourself. But the only problem with Jund is it's a pretty expensive deck to get into. Hey Hoke, how's school going? Or have you graduated yet? I have not graduated yet. School is going okay though. What type of meta game in Modern do you enjoy the most / the least? Ones with a lot of blue islands, because it's just easier for my merfolk to get island walk and attack. Generally, the slower meta games favor me though. I don't like it's always a sweat. I lose the die roll. Now I'm up against prowess, and they're gonna like crush me game 1 because I have just a really clunky hand. That's just how it goes. So I prefer slower meta games with a lot of islands. Can Grixis blitz with Thoughtseize? Oh, we got this already. Okay, you're gonna get timed out. Don't ask the same question a million times. I'm seeing it a lot. Control decks are viable now? Always has been. Always has been viable. Nothing's really changed for the control decks. The only thing is now, there were like maybe 2 control decks in the top 32 of Saturday's Modern Challenge, but first place was Blue White Control. So, I mean, it's just a matter of them waiting to see what the metagame's going to shape like, and then they'll shape their deck for that metagame. Should we, Emperor Sakis, should we start calling blue-green merfolk Quandrix merfolk? Simic is, oh, I get it. So Quandrix, well, I don't know. Is Quandrix really, like, part of the color pie, or is it just like an attitude? I have no idea what part of the color pie Quandrix is going to be. When is the top 10 decks for February coming out? I'm probably going to make one later this week. I had to like at least wait and see what was sort of happening in Modern. I have a pretty good picture of what's happening, and it's probably going to change really soon, but it's still going to be worth it to make a video. Alex says, just wanted to say, love your tier list. They're entertaining and insightful. You're welcome. I got both of them, entertaining and insightful. That's the point. Noetic says, what would be needed to push perilous research into Modern viability? Draw 2 cards, then sacrifice a permanent. This looks like such a shitty card. Like, don't we have cards like... This seems so bad. Like, Thoughtcast is like basically 1 blue, draw 2 cards. There's even like, what's it called? Chart a Course. Draw 2 cards and discard a card unless you attacked with a creature this turn. I think the only thing that would make this viable is if there was some benefit to sacrificing a particular permanent. Like, whenever this permanent goes to the graveyard, get a 2020 Merit Lage token or something like that, you know what I mean? That's the only way I could see this as being viable. Maybe there's some other applications, but I mean, obviously, the only unique thing about the card is you get to sacrifice a permanent. That should be, and for some reason, a blue deck really needed it for some reason. A lot of questions today. Chat is full. I have thought about building some kind of sliver prison with telekinetic sliver. I have not thought about this. How do you feel about Modern Hardened Scales Affinity? Very underrated right now. Very, very underrated right now. Maybe, well, there was... Eldrazi Tron saw very little play in, like, the last quarter of last year. So in the fall and winter... Like, it was a good time for Hardened Scales Affinity to come out. There was no artifact hate and very little Karn the Great Creator. Karn the Great Creator is going to come back because Tron is coming back. Eldrazi Tron is coming back. But still, I think it's an underrated archetype. It's just not that much artifact hate out there. Would Electro Dominance be viable in Living End decks now that Simian Spirit Guide is gone? Absolutely, Sanzi. Absolutely. Like, especially the Living End decks, they can afford to play patiently and go into the long game, whereas a lot of the Simian Spirit Guide decks, they just need to be fast, you know? Death and Taxes has been on the rise recently. How do you feel about the Merfolk matchup? Awkward. I used to be more comfortable before Skyclave Apparition was a card. Now, with Skyclave Apparition, it's very awkward. That's a really good card versus us. Azorius or Bant Spirits? Both. You gotta be flexible. You know, if you sometimes need that fast power, you play that Collected Company. You don't need that fast power. Need some more interaction, go to Azorius. Andrew asked, because Thoughtseize and Inquisition are so prominent, what is your opinion of Bag of Holding? Whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard, draw a card, then discard a card, sacrifice Bag of Holding, return all cards exiled with Bag of Holding to their owner's hands. Clunky. Way too clunky and useless. The Thoughtseize player won't even care that you're doing this stuff. Draw a card, then discard a card. This is just not very good. The Thoughtseize player ideally will kill you or blow up this bag of holding by the time you like activate it. So not doesn't look very competitive. Best artifact destruction in red, shattering spree or shenanigans. Also, well, there's that. Those are both are great, by the way. But there's also okay, that could be a discussion point for everyone. So what's all the artifact hates that we have evolved for red? There's a lot. There's a lot for red. So artifact hate in red. There's also smash to smithereens. I don't know how to spell smithereens, so I'm going to try. This one's very popular. That's a great one. Abrade. There's a lot of good artifact hate. And Abrade is like, you know, this is a control special because it can kill a lot of creatures. Like 3 damage to any creature is pretty good, and destroying artifacts is also good. Shredded Sails? Is that an art? I've never heard of that one. I'm assuming it's not good. Destroy an artifact or deals 4 damage to target creature with flying. So it's like a clunky, or it's like a less flexible Abrade. Ooh, Ingature is actually an interesting one. This is more applicable to this is more applicable to living end decks that will bring, or decks that will bring the Ingature back from the graveyard. Pillage, classic Pillage. Classic Pillage. Destroy target artifact or land. It can't regenerate. Ancient Grudge. Oh, Ancient Grudge for Dredge or like any deck. There's Wear and Tear. That's right. Fuck. Why do they put it sideways? So you can destroy artifacts or you can destroy enchantments if you're in white. This Vandal Blast. That's a good one. Yeah, destroy target artifact you don't control. You could overload it for 5. There's Kolaghan's Rakdos Charm. Okay, there's Kolaghan's Command. What was it? Kolaghan's Command. Yeah, the more popular ones. Yeah, they mentioned that they were asking between Shenanigans and Shattering Spree, so they're just wondering about everything else. How many win cons should be put in a modern deck? That depends on the deck. If you're a combo deck, you could have 4 copies of a win con. Sometimes 1 copy if you have a lot of ways of tutoring for it. Some control decks have 12 win conditions. Some have 4. Well, I don't know if this is considered artifact destruction. But anyway, the point is there's a lot of artifact destruction out there. It's all good, and it's all good. It's all good stuff. It's all good stuff in the red. Okay, let's see if I can get back randomly to the questions. Any chance on a video in future for good cards just waiting for a home? That's an interesting idea. In fact, that's so interesting. I'm going to write that down. Actually, maybe this is also another neat discussion point. What do you people think are underrated cards waiting for a home? Like really good cards. We know Underworld, Breach easily is one of them, just because it's already fucking banned in other formats. Like, so this card's already banned in other formats. It's just not banned in Modern. But what are other cards that are like really, really good? Okay, Vengevine. Those are some easy ones. Vengevine. I mean, this card has seen play a million times, but today it sees no play, I guess. This is a seasonal card. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. Then there's Phoenix. Maybe it should be like maybe a card that has never seen play before. Like these cards, we know these cards are good. People don't believe in this card. This card is very, very good. Fires of Invention? That's not a bad suggestion. Fires of Invention. Like Wilderness Reclamation. Well, Wilderness Reclamation is still legal in Modern. So I think so long as Wilderness Reclamation is legal, Fires of Invention will not see play. But maybe this is an underrated card. Unsettled Mariner? Maybe. I'm not the most impressed with Unsettled Mariner, but maybe. Aria of Flame? Aria of Flame already sees play in Storm. It's in the Storm sideboard. Thing in the Ice? I guess Thing in the Ice is a card. I thought this video would be more interesting, though, to note cards that have never been good before. Like Royal Scions maybe is a type of card. This card has never seen play. Like, I don't know. It was once played in a Shadow deck, but like once, and it's taken out immediately. Night Veil Predator? What does this do? 4 mana, Flying Death Touch, Hexproof. I know it's a vampire, but I don't know if it's underrated. It seems accurately rated at 4 mana. Oh, Cabal Therapist. That's an interesting one. This was a Modern Horizons special that didn't see play yet. Oh, you know what mine would be? It would be that. What is the vampire? What is the 2 mana vampire? I think all these cards are very accurately rated in Modern. Maybe Echo the Eons? It's like, or sorry, Echo of Eons. It's like all the Modern Horizon cards that have not broken through yet. That's basically going to be the video. All these busted Modern Horizon cards that haven't found a home yet. I mean, this is clearly fucked. Maybe it's not that bad. Each player should like, because you have to make it like a one-sided effect to get the most value out of it. Yeah, Cordial Vampire. I mean, basically, this card is waiting for like the vampire deck. Like that card, this card really impressed me. It was like beyond powerful, in my opinion. Phyrexian Obliterate. You know what? It's just the mana on Phyrexian Obliterator is just too awful. It used to see a little bit of play a long time ago. Yeah, Echo with Narsat Lock, exactly. Toski, Bear of Secrets. This is the can't be countered, indestructible, attacks each combat if able. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. It's probably not underrated. Uro is banned. Artificer's Intuition. Mana, discard an artifact card from your hand. Search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost 1 or less. Reveal that card and put it into your hand, then shelf your library. So, I mean, I could see that this could get broken somehow, but it would require a very, very specific deck. A very, very specific deck for it. Like, it's really narrow. It's like super ultra narrow, really. Maybe Winota. The thing is, you need to have a lot of garbage in your deck to make Winota work. And in Modern, like you can't. I don't know. Maybe you can make like a Boros deck that has like no humans in it, and this thing enters the battlefield, or almost no humans, and maybe this thing enters the battlefield. But you need to put like humans, right? You may put a human creature card from among them onto the battlefield, tap and attacking against indestructible. Whenever a non-human creature you control attacks, like I think it's hard. I think Modern has a lot of tools to beat this card. Gross Messenger is not a bad one. Grateful Apparition? I don't even know what this is. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker proliferate, I don't think that actually this is going to be competitive at all. That's you're asking you need to play this and you need to hope that it lives to see the next turn and it doesn't get blocked. I think that's too much to ask. Oath of Nisa? Oath of Nisa already sees play. Gravecrawler already sees play. Madcap Experiment already sees play. These are cards like I've never seen. I'm hoping cards that I've never seen play. Bloodghast still playable in Modern? If no, why so? I don't know why Dredge doesn't play Bloodghast sometimes. Mindslaver with Tron, that already exists. Maybe Sea-Dash or Octopus? Maybe. I think the problem with Sea-Dash or Octopus is it's competing with Shark Typhoon, which does something similar. Draws a card immediately, and you get a 2/2 creature. Or, sorry, you can get a huge creature in the late game, and also has Flash, basically. So that's the problem with Shark Typhoon. Sea-Dash or Octopus. It's competing with Shark Typhoon. Keenan? I don't remember what this card is. Oh! Now this is a good suggestion. Whenever you tap an on-land permanent for mana, add 1 mana of any type that permanent produced. You can spend 7 mana. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a non-human creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This is an interesting suggestion. I think this is an interesting suggestion. It's very cheap to throw in your deck, and it has a very powerful effect. Not exactly sure how you abuse this. I don't know. Maybe you could throw it in some sort of Titan deck or something. I don't know. I don't know how to make it work. But it's a very strong card. You people are just like throwing out just random cards, basically. Come on, it's gotta be sort of on the level of Underworld Breach here, people. Soulfire Grandmaster, that actually saw a little bit of play, but I actually don't think that card is overrated. Fiend Artisan in Yawgmoth combo. Oh, meh. Gives +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. Sacrifice another creature. Search your library for a creature card. I mean, maybe this is better than I think it is, but it's very weak. It's 1 toughness. Well, sorry, actually, it doesn't have 1 toughness. It'll be bigger depending how many cards in your graveyard. Murderous Rider has seen some play. Knight of Ebon Legion basically has not, because we haven't had a solid vampire deck actually win. But maybe Knight of Ebon Legion is an underrated card. Veto Thorn of Dusk Rose is more of a commander card. I don't actually think this is modern playable. Enduring Ideal? There is an archetype that uses it. I would say the archetype hasn't broken through, not the card. Oh, Jutai's Command? That's an interesting suggestion. It's basically like Cryptic Command for blue-white with some extra different abilities. I guess the problem, again, with this card is if you're in blue, you might as well be playing Cryptic Command. Because you can return a creature and gain 4 life, but really Cryptic Command, I think, is a little bit more useful. Maybe Robber of the Rich. That card does see play in, like, Historic. Was it 2 mana haste, 2/2 creature? Like, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Maybe that's an underrated card. I could call this an underrated card. Mox Amber sees play. Everyone has cards they wish were competitive, I think, like a junk car never giving up on. Yeah, you know what? That's exactly how I'm interpreting this. You had worded it perfectly, Sir Buttered Balls. You worded it perfectly. People are just naming the cards that they just want to be good, not actually good. I'm reading the chat. These are like these Hellspark Elemental. I know what this card does. This is not seeing modern play. It's 2 mana, 3/1 creature, trample, and haste. Yeah, you can unearth it. I don't think it's going to be that much better after you unearth it. Chain to the Rocks, that actually sees a little bit of play. Anyway, everyone, it's time. You know what time it is, everyone? It's time for Decklist review. So in the description, there is a link to my Discord. Join my Discord. And you have access to the channel Decklist review. Now in the channel, you can use the command right here, !review deck space give the URL to your deck list, and you will be eligible to be chosen at random for your deck list to be reviewed on the channel. Be in front of everyone. You'll get to be the star of the show. And as people start submitting their deck list, we are going to thank our sponsors, starting with FusionGamingOnline.com, my favorite local game store. They sell paper, cardboard, and accessories to sleeve up and protect your paper cardboard. You can support the channel by using my... You can support the channel by actually just shopping there, period. Deal of the week this week, save 15% off Throne of Eldraine singles and sealed product. All right, so if you need stuff from Throne of Eldraine, you're waiting for an even better deal on Oko Thief of Crowns, even after it's been banned, or you want some Brazen Borrowers, now's the time to get it. Go get it at FusionGamingOnline.com. And you can support the channel by using my coupon code Nikachu at checkout, and it will support you by giving you an extra 5% off your purchase. 15% off plus an extra 5% off. What's wrong with that? We're also going to thank our other sponsor, Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. You can support the channel by using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 15% off your first 3 months using my coupon code Nikachu. All right, let's go check out some deck lists. Who knows what we'll see today? Maybe Hellspark Elemental. All right. Good luck, everyone. A random thing didn't work. Sometimes I gotta do it twice. All right. Vic A, congratulations. You are the next contestant on Decklist Review. Rixis Bloodsun with Noxious Gearhulk, Menace, ETB. Enters the battlefield, you may destroy another target creature. If a creature is destroyed this way, you gain life equal to its toughness. All right. I wish it had haste. Oh, sorry, flash. Chandra, Torch of Defiance, solid, strong card. Nicobolus, Dragon God. Oh, the Planeswalker. You know, whenever I see Nicobolus in a Grixis list, I just assume it's the creature. You know what I mean? Oh, we have thank you very much, Mitch, for the super chat. Good morning, Nikachu. Watching the stream as I run my truck route, still working on Fireman's research. Keep working on that and enjoy your drive. Hopefully your job is not being hurting you too much. Okay, so I wonder, do I see the notifications if it's like $5 or more? So the last one was $2. I'm trying to find a pattern when I see the notification and when I don't. Interesting. Anyway, Nicobolus, Dragon God. I don't even know what this thing does. Nicobolus, Dragon God has all loyalty abilities of all other planeswalkers on the battlefield. +1 draw a card. Each opponent exiles a card from their hand or a permanent they control. Destroy target creature or planeswalker at -3 and -8. Each opponent who doesn't control legendary creature or planeswalker loses the game. Really, I honestly don't find this card particularly impressive at 5 mana. There's so many like really good planeswalkers you can play at 5 mana. Chandra, Awakened Inferno. I guess you at least have a curve from 4, 5, and 6. The spell can't be countered. Each opponent gets an emblem with. At the beginning of your upkeep, this emblem deals 1 damage to you. I think you should actually go down on planeswalkers. You seem to be heavy on these really expensive. This is really, your curve is so expensive. So we got Blood Chief's Thirst, Thoughtseize, Anticipate. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Okay, that's fine. Tail's End, I'm assuming you're playing the Lotus Field. Okay, so you are going super high up on the curve because you could do this. Oh, and Mitch, again, thank you very much for the super chats, Mitch. For your information, I stopped and parked before commenting. Oh, I assumed that you're doing everything safely. Just enjoy. I hope you're enjoying your drive. My father loves watching truck driver YouTube videos where they're just driving a truck from one place to another and they're just talking. So I have some loose idea what the life of the truck driver is like. What do we else have here? Okay, Medieval. Destroy target artifact or creature. Destroy target artifact, creature, or planeswalker. That's not bad right now. Soul Turning Suns, I like it. I like that you have something like this. Valakut's Awakening. Shadow's Verdict. Now, I don't know about this one. Exile creatures and planeswalkers with converted mana cost 3 or less from the battlefield, and all creatures and planeswalkers with planeswalker cards with converted mana cost 3 or less from all graveyards. Your deck is a bit clunky. Oh, is this Pioneer? No, it's... Oh, the format's historic. Oh! Interesting. Okay. I'm going to be a little less aggressive on your... I still think you should have more things to do on earlier points of the game. Don't Nikachu and drive, kids. Yeah, drive by donations. This is actually historic. First, I thought it was modern. Okay, I'm going to cut you a little bit more slack. But I still think we need to be, like, look at what you do on turn 1. You do nothing. You have 6 cards to do on, you have 6 things to do on turn 1. I think you should have one more Thoughtseize, one more Blood Chief's Thirst. You got to take out, like, Shadow's Verdict, one of the Planeswalkers. Like, your deck is so top-end heavy. And I understand you got the Lotus Field available, but still, it's really slow. You're still so high up on the top end. I mean, if you have any expectation of making it that far, especially Shadow's Verdict, like, this is just too expensive. Maybe it's okay as, like, a one-of, I don't know. You already have Chandra's Inferno, which essentially will kill off the board. It's a board wipe. So my suggestion, maybe take out 2 Shadow's Verdict, add a Thoughtseize and a Blood Chief's Thirst. Also, maybe you should go up to the full... I don't know if you want 4 Tail's End. I don't know what the metagame is like right now in Historic. Actually, no. Yeah, you can have 3 Tail's End. I forgot. You have Blood Sun anyway for your Lotus Field. Yeah, Shark Typhoon is definitely a possibility. Yeah, F in the chat for turn 1 plays. We don't have many turn 1 plays here. You have a sideboard Ether Gust, Dread Horde Butcher. Haste when deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker. Put a +1/+1 counter on the Butcher. When the Butcher dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. I don't really find that this is a very interesting card, but maybe it's fine against control decks that don't have much spot removal, and you get in there very quickly and just keep compounding the damage. You have Fry, Mystical Dispute, Leyline of the Void, and a Nezaha Primal Tide. I'm just going to assume that this has an actual purpose. It's also a very, very clunky card. Yeah, just, you need to interact more at... Like, you don't even have that many 2-drops either. It is important because if you have any intention of getting any of these bigger spells on the battlefield, you got to survive the early game. You got to survive the early game. You're very top-end heavy. I would definitely remove some Shadow's Verdict for a Blood Chief's Thirst and a Thoughtseize. And I would also look to be shaving some other cards, maybe some of these Planeswalkers, because you've got a lot of win conditions just to add more stuff at 2 mana. I don't know, and maybe some more Anticipates, maybe actual removal at 2 mana. I don't know what else, though. Like maybe a Braid or something. Maybe Butcher could be Goblin Rabble Master. Is Ravnica available in Historic? I don't think so. This is a Historic list. Or was that Return to Ravnica? I don't remember where Rabble Master came in. But aside, so like the only thing I have to say is you need to be a little bit lower on. If you have any expectation to cast your bomb really high end cards, you need to be lower on the curve. You're not always going to have your Lotus Field on the battlefield. You're not always going to draw it. So you're just going to have to play like a lower mana. Like these are so expensive. Like maybe we should discontinue discontinuity. So anyway, we need to shave down on this deck. The curve is just way too fucking high. Lower the curve, have more interaction on a lower curve. Maybe have some counter spells or something, and your deck will do a lot better. Good luck with that feedback. Thanks for submitting the list. One thing, okay, you had one question about consistency. So before I leave, maybe you could have what is the counter spell for but has cycling? I mean, you could just put more anticipates in the deck. That wouldn't be too bad, but it doesn't interact with the battlefield, which is what I don't like. Or maybe the deck will feel more consistent if you bring the curve down. Because I have a feeling you have a lot of games where you're just playing some lands and you die, and then you sometimes don't even have the land drops in order to cast the stuff. And you only have 22 lands. Like, this is not a lot of lands in this deck for with a curve that's so which is so high. So high. Yeah, I was thinking about Censor. So Censor is a card that can be, you can use it early on in the game as a counter spell. What the hell was that? I didn't know they had the uncards on Scryfall. They never seem to show up when I'm looking for them. So what you can do is you can play Censor. So you can counter spells very early in the game. But if they do nothing, you can cycle it and then draw into more cards and like other stuff. You just go deeper in your deck. That might help add to some consistency because it creates some redundancy in your deck. Anyway, I hope that's some good useful feedback. Good luck with you in Historic. Pokemon Stadium 2, because I'm sure Pokemon Stadium 1 was taken. Congratulations. You're the next contestant on Decklist Review. We've got a modern deck, people. Any notes? Nope. Okay, we've got modern. Oh yeah, that's a pretty good card to have in the other deck. Eliminate. All right, we have a modern deck. What is this? Is there some notes? Turn 4, Gishath, Sun's Avatar via artifacts to cheat in. Verdant, Sun's Avatar, and other dinos gain a ton of life and win. Disclaimer, more fun than good. All right, thank you for this disclaimer. But it gets there more often than you think. All right. Excellent. So what we are trying to get a Gishath. Okay, I don't even know what these fucking cards do. Let's go read them. We got a reader here, people. Trample, Vigilance, Haste. Whenever Gishath, Sun's Avatar deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. Put any number of dinosaur creature cards among them onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay. So you got a payoff here. So you just need to get it in play. Sylvan Caryatid, Hexproof Madork, Quartz Wood Crasher, 5 mana trample. Whenever one or more creatures you control with trample deal combat damage to a player, create an XX green dinosaur beast creature token with trample, where X is the number of damage those creatures dealt to that player. Verdant Sun's Avatar. Whenever Verdant Sun's Avatar or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. So how do you get all this stuff in play though? Primal Dawn, flying everything. Titanoth Rex. Trample, whenever you cycle, Titanoth Rex, put a trample to counter on target creature you control. So we're trying to cheat him and play with like Quicksilver Amulet or something. Ancient Stirrings, Edge of Autumn. If you control 4 or fewer lands, search your library for a basic land, put it into play, tap, then shuffle your library. Seems like a worst Farseek. What makes this? Oh, it has cycling. Sacrifice a land. Ancient Stirrings to find the Quicksilver Amulet. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. I knew someone who liked this sort of thing. And Thran, Temporal Gateway. You may put a historic permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Okay, is there any way? Are there any I haven't looked up every dinosaur on the face of the earth. Are there any dinosaurs? Well, first off, you should play with Cavernous Souls. Or maybe it doesn't matter. You're not actually casting any of these things. Who am I kidding? Is there any dinosaurs or anything that can search for these things? Or make the cost of these cost less? Elvish Piper. Yeah, maybe Elvish Piper is even better because you can get it out earlier. No, you can't. The casting cost is 4. So Elvish Piper is actually I thought it was the other way around. It costs 1, but costs 4 to put a creature card onto the battlefield. So it's actually weaker, right? You may put a historic permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. So this still is the same thing, basically. But it's not weak to removal. Training Grounds is a must. What is this? It's modern. But they don't have blue. Maybe, though. Does anything else require an activated ability? Like, I hear what you're saying. You know what? It wouldn't change anything because it doesn't change the fact that you need to spend. So Training Grounds makes activated abilities of creatures you control. Oh, it doesn't actually. This doesn't work at all. Because this only works for creatures. But the problem is, like, if you have 4 mana to cast this, you have 4 mana to activate it. So you don't making the activated portion cost less means nothing. I've used every single cheat spell on Modern. Nothing beats those artifacts. Okay, but how do we make these artifacts cost less? Or we need more ramp spells. So, like, instead of Edge of Autumn... Oh, no, Edge of Autumn is still worry. If you control 4 or fewer lands, search your library for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. So we need, like, more Edge of Autumn effects. Like Farseek, basically. Sylvan Character is fine, because it can block. I can see that you've probably have a lot of experience with this deck, because you got the stirrings here. You're like low but not too low on creatures. You have enough creatures that you have a payoff for both of these cards. Birds or Goose would be helpful, but they die to removal. Like, it's really important that you don't get slowed down by removal. That's why there's Caryatid and the Edge of Autumn in this deck. Like, I can tell that they thought about this. You wouldn't assume such a thing, but, you know, it's true. Search for Tomorrow actually is a good idea. I like this one. I'll tell you why. Because we don't have anything to do at 1 mana. And if we could at least play Search for Tomorrow on turn 1, that might help. Maybe Search for Tomorrow is better than Edge of Autumn. Maybe. We don't have a lot of things to do at 2 mana either, though. I don't know. I don't know. Play Soul Ring. We're just kind of... Maybe our opponents don't know that Soul Ring is not legal in Modern. I've played a ton of this in Paper. Oh, is there a new spoiler? Well, okay, I'll get to the spoiler. I just want to know if there's any feedback I can give. I can't really say much about the sideboard because I don't even know how well this deck plays in the first place. Cheat in Emrakul and Ulamog. How to get these things in play earlier? Like, turn 3, put this thing on the battlefield. Turn 4, put a dinosaur in play. That is just almost too slow. It's almost too slow. I would have to look through every dinosaur to make sure you got the best dinos. Yeah, the deck plays Blood Moon. I mean, it doesn't care, really. I mean, it's playing with, like... It's just a green-red deck, right? 23 lands, but mana ramp. You have 4 Sylvan Caryatid and 4 Ancient Stirrings and 4 Edge of Autumn. So you're actually pretty good on mana. Ancient Stirrings can find a land if they need it. This is similar to a janky Progenitus deck I made, but slower. Well, how did you make yours faster, then? Like, that would be my only question. Oh, I like that. Elder might be better than Edge of Autumn because you at least have a body on the battlefield, and so you can block and sack, save yourself some damage because you're definitely going to need to save some life with this deck. So actually, I like that suggestion. We should replace the Edge of Autumn with Secure Tribe Elder. Use Ironcrag Feat? Or you mean Iron? That's 4 mana, 7. It's 4 red to get 7 mana. I don't think that, because you need 8 mana here, so it doesn't work so well. Dinotron. That's not the dumbest idea, actually, to just, why not actually play, because you're essentially a green deck, right? That might have been like the best. This might sound like this might have been a troll comment, but actually maybe this is a real suggestion. You should be playing Tron lands. You should be a green deck playing. Like, let's be serious. You're not casting these. Well, maybe you are hard casting some of these cards. You're not hard casting this card. You're not really hard casting. I don't know if you're hard casting this one. Okay, let's be honest with ourselves. We're not hard casting this. Why not play with the forest and then like just 12 Tron lands? Yeah, it runs through green. So you just have to play, you just play your Ancient Strings and just play the Tron lands. And just, you can have turn 3 Tron. Problem is, turn 3 Tron doesn't actually give you 8 mana, it gives you 7. So you're still a little short on the Quicksilver Amulet. But you'll have I don't know. That's a difficult one. How to get that extra mana? Well, you're still playing Sylvan Carrotids in addition to it, so you actually can have the 8 mana in theory. So you can play like Sylvan Carrotid, Sakura Tribe Elder instead of this, and play like just play 12 Tron lands, and the rest are like forests. Yeah, Tyrannosaurus. We've got the name, people. Well, we probably have to remove Blood Moon. I mean, you could play Blood Moon with Tron, as if it's possible, assuming you think the Blood Moon is more effective. Like, the Blood Moon can beat the opponent. Yeah, Simian Spirit Guide. Oh, wait, how do we get that 1 extra mana? Yeah, Tyrannosaurus, we have a winner. I think that seems very reasonable. You can still play Sylvan Carrotid. You can still play... Or I guess that doesn't make sense, right? That doesn't make sense, because you need a forest in play, then Tron lands. But I'll say this much. By turn 4, you'll have... Does this matter? By turn 4, you can have 8 mana to cast and then activate on the very same turn, so your opponent doesn't get an opportunity to like bounce or interact with the artifact. I don't know. It's hard to give feedback for something like this, because I know you're all in on this thing. But I might go for the Tron lands. Also remember, I need a large amount of dinos in the deck for Gishalt to hit. Every card slot is a premium. Yeah, I'm not touching any of your dinos. Maybe we can even add more dinos if we take out Edge of Autumn and just add like Tron lands. But you just have to randomly draw into the Tron lands. You just be lucky you run into the Tron lands. Anyway, thanks for submitting the deck. It was at least it was humorous to look at. Okay, let's quickly look at Mythic Spoiler. Apparently some new cards have been spoiled. Or it hasn't been updated yet. I don't have the spoiler yet. Does anyone... Where can I find the new cards spoiled? Or is it as easy as me going on Twitter? If there's a new card spoiled, I don't know where it is. It's like not showing up on my Twitter feed. Was it a troll spoiler? I think if there's a real spoiler, it would show up on my Twitter timeline. Well, maybe we'll see it tomorrow if there's an actual spoiler. So for everybody, thanks for showing up today. It was a great stream as usual. If I didn't get your comments or questions or your deck list, don't worry. We do this Monday to Friday, 9:00 a.m. Central Standard Time. Keep brewing that coffee. We keep doing this every single day of the week. You want to support the channel, love Coffee and MTG, leave a sub at twitch.tv/Nikachu MTG. If you're using Amazon Prime, that's a free way of supporting the channel. Just link your Prime account to Twitch, and boom, you can support the channel for free. Also, you could become a patron on Patreon, patreon.com/Nikachu MTG, or join me on YouTube. But again, thank you very much, everyone, for showing up. Without all of you, this stream is absolutely nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It only is possible because so many of you show up and love to be part of the conversation. So keep brewing up that coffee, and we'll keep brewing up the magic.